Section 1. You are standing in a cramped study that smells faintly of old tobacco and dusty books, where daylight slants through half-closed blinds and illuminates a man in a baggy sweater, hair erupting in all directions like a physics-inspired lightning storm. The scratch of chalk on a battered blackboard echoes off the wooden walls, and stacks of yellowed papers threaten to topple from every surface. This is Einstein's world, a cluttered sanctuary, where cosmic secrets are scribbled between coffee stains and where simplicity, above all else, reigns as king. And tonight, you're about to learn why the man in the sweater believed that the universe itself is built from simple truths, even if those truths could melt your brain into quantum goo. You probably won't survive this with your neurons entirely intact. So before you get too comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you really like what I do here. And hey, tell me in the comments where you're listening from and what time it is right now. Now, turn down the lights, maybe turn on the fan for some soft noise, and let's get started tonight. There's Einstein, leaning forward, brow furrowed as he stares at symbols dancing across the blackboard. His chalk hand flickers with bursts of energy, then pauses as if to listen for the whispers of the cosmos itself. You imagine him murmuring to himself, "Got Werfelt Nick, God does not play dice." But behind that famous phrase lies another truth he clung to even more fiercely. The universe, he believed, should be simple at its core. Mainstream fact, Einstein's greatest breakthrough, special relativity, general relativity, E equals mc squared, all emerged from ideas that were stunningly simple in essence. He often insisted that if a theory wasn't as simple as possible, it was probably wrong. Quirky Einstein tidbit: despite his love for simplicity, Einstein kept a famously chaotic desk. Papers spilled everywhere, calculations tangled with letters, and sometimes the violin he kept under his desk peeked out from the mess. Physicists still debate whether the clutter was creative chaos or simply evidence that even geniuses can't find a filing system that actually works. Hovering invisibly in that study, you feel the pull of his thoughts, as if gravity itself bends around them. Simplicity to him wasn't laziness, it was nature's fingerprint. He believed the cosmos wasn't a broke cathedral of tangled rules, but a place where the underlying principles were elegant, inevitable, and, above all, simple. Physicists still debate whether simplicity truly reflects how the universe works, or if it's just a human bias, our brains craving order where nature might be far messier. Some insist that complexity is unavoidable at the deepest levels. Others still chase the hope that simplicity lies hidden beneath the chaos. The argument continues, from research papers to late-night conversations over lukewarm coffee in labs around the world. Standing there, you see Einstein rub his temples, close his eyes, and drift into silence. His mind is seeking the simplest possible way to explain the grandest truths. And somehow, that belief has shaped everything in modern physics. Simplicity, for Einstein, was a compass. It pointed him toward the beautiful path through chaos, toward theories so streamlined that they seemed inevitable, like how the speed of light is constant for all observers, or how gravity isn't a force pulling objects downward, but the bending of space and time itself. And you can't help but grin, because here's a man who thought of spacetime as a flexible fabric, yet struggled to keep his socks matched in the morning. That, my friend, is cosmic balance. You watch him tap chalk against the blackboard, then begin again, wiping away dense clusters of equations until only a few graceful symbols remain. He's searching for an equation so simple it sinks a line of math that captures the universe. In a handful of symbols, Einstein's violin peeks out once more from beneath the desk, as though waiting to serenade the cosmos. You imagine him plucking a string, letting a pure note ring through the room. Maybe that's how he tested ideas, if they felt as clear and inevitable as music. He trusted he was on the right path. You hover closer, feeling the tension between Einstein's chaotic surroundings and his craving for cosmic simplicity. His life was an orchestra of contradictions, clutter and clarity, jokes and genius, theory and melody. Yet beneath it all lay an unwavering belief that the universe wants to be understood. And you realize the quiet beauty in that notion. The idea that hidden under the chauspeth and the clutter of Einstein's desk, and in the swirling dance of galaxies there might lie simple rules, waiting to be uncovered. So tonight, as you lie back under your blanket. Remember, simplicity wasn't just Einstein's aesthetic preference. It was his scientific compass, pointing the way through the dark wilderness of mystery, always seeking the most elegant route toward truth. And next time someone tells you physics is too complicated, just smile and say, well, Einstein thought it should be simple. Then, if you're feeling brave, add, by the way, have you heard about spacetime curvature? That should guarantee you some personal space at any party. Section 2. You're still floating above Einstein's cluttered desk, chalk dust glimmering like cosmic glitter in the lamplight, when the blackboard before you seems to pulse with quiet power. Because tonight, you're about to see how a simple equation can flip the universe inside out. Einstein stands there, hair wild, eyes gleaming, chalk in hand, and he's about to write something that looks so deceptively short. You'd think it belongs on a shopping list, not a cosmic manifesto. 3 characters and a little squiggle of equals. E equals mc squared. Mainstream fact, E equals mc is the most famous equation in the world. It tells you that energy and mass are 2 sides of the same coin, linked by the speed of light squared. That simple idea cracked open the doors to atomic energy, nuclear power, and understanding how stars shine. Quirky Einstein tidbit. Einstein once declared he didn't really grasp why people were so obsessed with E equals mc. To him, it was just one result among many. Physicists still debate whether that was true humility or a cosmic-level humble brag. Either way, it's amusing that a man whose doodles could change physics forever thought his celebrity equation was a bit overrated. Hovering beside him, you watch as he writes those symbols with almost casual confidence. To you, it looks like a piece of secret code. To Einstein, it's the essence of simplicity, one short statement revealing how matter and energy are interchangeable. Physicists still debate whether E equals mc is the ultimate summary of the universe's secrets, or just one piece of a much larger puzzle. Some believe it hints at deeper connections between all forces of nature. Others argue it's a dazzling, but limited inside a bright star in a still dark sky. Einstein lowers the chalk and steps back. He tilts his head, as if listening for a melody only he can hear. Maybe it's the same tune his violin would sing if he played it right now, a song where simplicity meets cosmic truth. You drift closer to the blackboard, tracing the chalk marks. E equals mc squared. It's so neat, so compact, but it explodes with consequences. It says that mass can become energy, and energy can become mass. That stars fuse hydrogen into helium and shine for billions of years. That tiny specks of uranium can unleash city-destroying blasts. That the matter in your body is, in a sense, pure energy waiting to be rearranged. You imagine Einstein's violin resting under his desk, vibrating gently as though it, too, knows that 3 simple symbols have rewritten the rules of reality. And here's the delicious cosmic joke. Simplicity doesn't mean small. Simple ideas can have colossal consequences. One neat equation can topple old beliefs, light up new technologies, and reveal secrets hidden in the starlight. Physicists still debate whether the universe prefers to express its deepest laws in equations, as short and elegant as E equals mc squared, or whether nature sometimes insists on sprawling complexity. Some scientists chase beautiful equations like treasure hunters. Others warn that beauty doesn't always guarantee truth. It's the ongoing tug-of-war between elegance and messiness. You grin, picturing Einstein at a party, politely nodding as someone gushes about how E equals mc changed the world, while he's quietly plotting his next breakthrough about curved spacetime or quantum puzzles. You hover beside him as he wipes the blackboard clean. Chalk dust drifts like stars fading into the void. He seems almost dissatisfied, as if knowing even E equals mc is merely one stepping stone on a path toward something simpler, deeper. Because for Einstein, equations weren't just calculations, they were glimpses of hidden harmony. He believed that the laws of nature should fit together like the notes of a perfect melody. He hunted for equations so clear that they felt inevitable. You look around his study again. It's chaos, papers, letters, half-drunk coffee cups. Yet in that chaos, he searches relentlessly for simplicity. It's a contradiction that somehow makes perfect sense. So tonight, as you lie there in your bed, Remember, a simple equation scribbled on a chalkboard might carry the weight of stars and galaxies. And the universe, for all its vastness, sometimes whispers its secrets in the shortest possible sentences. And next time someone complains that physics sounds complicated, just smile and say, "It's really just E equals MC." Then stand back as they stare at you like you've spoken fluent alien. Hey, at least you'll have the conversation all to yourself. Section 3. You're still floating in the dusty glow of Einstein's study when the chalkboard fades away, dissolving into starlight and swirling galaxies. Because tonight, you're going to dive into the place where simplicity truly begins, the realm of imagination. Einstein leans back in his wooden chair, fingers steepled, eyes half closed as if he's about to doze off. But don't be fooled, that's the look of a man constructing universes in his mind. Mainstream fact: Einstein famously believed that imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge, he said, is limited to what we already know. Imagination encircles the world, allowing us to glimpse possibilities that facts alone could never reveal. Quirky Einstein tidbit: despite his towering intellect, Einstein once declared that as a child, he was so slow to learn to speak that his parents worried something was wrong with him. Physicists still argue whether his delayed speech helped him visualize ideas in pictures, rather than words, training his brain for the wild leaps of thought that later changed the world. Either way, you've got to love a guy who went from silent toddler to hey. Here's how gravity works. Hovering near him, you watch as his gaze drifts upward, unfocused. His mind is leaving behind messy calculations, sailing into realms where trains race alongside beams of light, elevators fall freely through space, and clocks tick at different speeds depending on how high up a mountain they sit. Physicists still debate whether thought experiments, those vivid mental pictures, are merely fun storytelling tools, or if they genuinely unlock new physics. Can you truly discover the laws of the universe by daydreaming? Or does the real progress happen only on the blackboard, in hard math and measurements? The argument spirals on like galaxies spinning in cosmic clusters. Einstein's violin sits silent under his desk, waiting for him to return from wherever his imagination has wandered. You can almost hear a quiet melody playing as he drifts deeper into mental landscapes no one else can see. He never started with equations. He started with images: a boy riding a light beam, elevators plummeting through gravity, twins aging differently on spaceships. His genius wasn't just solving complex math, it was knowing which simple mental pictures were worth exploring. You float beside him as he imagines chasing a beam of light. What would he see? Would the wave freeze, its peaks and troughs frozen in place? That childlike question eventually shattered Newton's concept of absolute time and led to special relativity. Because simplicity isn't about avoiding big ideas. It's about slicing away distractions until only the core remains. Einstein's imagination let him leap over cluttered equations and land on profound truths that seemed obvious only after he'd pointed them out. Physicists still debate whether our brains are wired to spot simplicity. Are we pattern hunters who find cosmic truths because they're really there, or because we're desperate to see order in chaos? Is simplicity a property of the universe, or just a story we tell ourselves so we can sleep at night? You grin because you're pretty sure Einstein would have had an answer for that. And then another question to blow your mind all over again. Picture him staring out the window of a rumbling train, watching lightning flash ahead and behind. He wonders, would two people standing in different places agree on when the lightning struck? The answer: no, they wouldn't. Becomes the seed of relativity. Time is not absolute. Even something as simple as now depends on where you're standing and how fast you're moving. All from daydreaming about trains. You remember Einstein's violin again. Perhaps his music was another way of exploring mental pictures, translating unseen patterns into sound. The way a melody takes shape echoes the way a good thought experiment takes shape. Simple yet profound, each note connected to the next. Floating higher, you realize imagination is the true birthplace of simplicity. It allows you to build impossible worlds in your mind, tear them down, and keep only the elegant pieces that fit. Einstein wasn't just a scientist, was a cosmic sculptor, chiseling away the unnecessary stone until a pure, simple truth emerged from the marble. So tonight, as you close your eyes, Remember, your imagination might be the most powerful tool you own. Even if you're not solving equations about spacetime, the ability to picture new worlds, new solutions, and new paths forward is your own personal compass. And next time someone catches you staring off into space, just tell them, I'm working on my next thought experiment. It might not get you out of chores, but hey, it worked for Einstein. Section 4. You're still floating beside Einstein as his mind soars through cosmic daydreams when suddenly, the quiet room seems to quiver with a different kind of energy. Because tonight, you're going to discover how music and one particular violin become the secret instrument of simplicity in Einstein's life. There he is, in the dim glow of his cluttered study, setting aside his chalk and equations. His fingers reach for the polished wood of his beloved violin. Mainstream fact, Einstein wasn't just a casual violinist, played seriously throughout his life, performing chamber music with friends and even joining local orchestras. He often said that if he hadn't been a physicist, he'd probably have been a musician instead. Quirky Einstein tidbit: Einstein sometimes practiced the violin so enthusiastically that neighbors complained about the noise. Physicists still argue whether he was a hidden virtuoso or just an enthusiastic amateur. Either way, it's endearing to picture the world's most famous scientist stubbornly sawing away at Mozart, while the people next door stuffed pillows over their ears. Hovering close, you watch Einstein tuck the violin under his chin. He draws the bow across the strings, coaxing a soft, plaintive note that seems to hover in the lamplight like a wavering photon. Physicists still debate whether creativity in science and music arises from the same mental routes. Do both rely on pattern recognition, intuition, and the pursuit of harmony? Or is musical talent simply a delightful coincidence among scientists, like owning a cat or drinking far too much coffee? The question remains a charming puzzle on the fringes of cognitive science. The violin sings in the quiet room, and you realize that for Einstein, music wasn't just a hobby, it was a refuge. When tangled equations became knots too tight to untangle, he'd step away and let his fingers find clarity on the strings. He once confessed that the answers to many of his scientific problems came not while scribbling math, but while lost in music's flow. Music gave his mind permission to wander freely, slipping past mental barriers to rediscover simplicity hiding beneath complexity. You imagine him pacing the floor, violin tucked under his chin, playing the same passage over and over while thoughts about light, space, and time percolated in his head. The vibrations of the strings seemed to vibrate his neurons, shaking loose hidden insights. Physicists still debate whether stepping away from direct problem solving is crucial to discovery. Some swear that breakthroughs happen precisely when you're not forcing them while showering, walking, or yes, playing the violin. Others insist hard work alone cracks the cosmic code. Perhaps the truth, as always, dances somewhere in the middle. Einstein's bow glides across the strings, the notes swelling and falling like gentle waves, and you sense a profound link. Music and physics both seek elegant structures. In both, simplicity is beauty. A clear melody is as satisfying as a simple equation capturing universal truths. Floating closer. You recall how Einstein spoke of combinatory play, the mental game of connecting unrelated ideas to spark new insights. Music was his playground for this. While his fingers worked the violin, his mind rearranged physical laws, testing new combinations in secret. And here's a cosmic joke for you. While Einstein unraveled the secrets of spacetime, he sometimes missed the beat during group performances, causing fellow musicians to glare at him. The same man who redefined time itself occasionally struggled to keep time in a string quartet. That's the universe keeping him humble. Hovering in the gentle swirl of music, you realize something deeply comforting. Einstein's greatest moments of clarity often arose not from brute force calculations, but from stepping back, relaxing, and letting simplicity find him. Music provided a quiet bridge between his chaotic mind and the silent elegance of the cosmos. In the resonant hum of vibrating strings, he heard echoes of curved spacetime and glimpses of simple truths lurking under the universe's complexity. You watch him lower the violin, the last note fading into the chalk-scented air. His shoulders seem lighter, his eyes clearer. It's as though music has swept away the dust of frustration, leaving behind the shining surfaces of simple ideas. So tonight, as you lie beneath your blankets, remember, sometimes the fastest route to clarity isn't grinding away at the problem, but picking up your own violin, whatever that may be, a walk, a doodle, a song hummed into the dark. Simplicity loves to visit when you least expect it. And next time someone catches you zoning out to music, just shrug and say, "Hey, I'm working on the next theory of relativity." They'll either back away slowly or offer you a record deal. Either way, it's a win. Section 5. You're still drifting in the fading echo of Einstein's violin. When the cosmic air seems to pulse around you, as if space itself is about to take a breath. Because tonight, you're about to see how Einstein's quest for simplicity birthed one of the wildest, most world-altering ideas ever conjured: relativity. Einstein stands beside the blackboard, his chalk paused midair. His eyes shimmer with that distant look, the same one he gets when he's half listening to Mozart and half rewiring the laws of physics in his brain. Mainstream fact: in 1905, at just 26 years old, Einstein published his special theory of relativity. The core idea is almost disarmingly simple. The laws of physics are the same for all non-accelerating observers, and the speed of light is constant, no matter how fast you're moving. Yet from that simplicity flows a waterfall of bizarre consequences. Time slows down, lengths shrink, and mass increases as you approach light speed. Quirky Einstein tidbit: despite blowing up the concept of time, Einstein famously lost track of time in everyday life. Friends and family said he was perfectly capable of missing meals, appointments, or even entire days while lost in thought. Physicists still argue whether that absent-mindedness was endearing, or just a cosmic-level nuisance to his poor secretary. Either way, relativity didn't exactly help him show up on time for dinner. Hovering beside him, you watch the chalk touch the blackboard. A few simple lines appear. 2 t equals gamma t, c, 2 vx. A symbol here, a fraction there, and suddenly, time itself is revealed as something flexible. It's no longer the same for everyone. It bends, stretches, contracts, depending on how fast you're moving. Physicists still debate whether this radical simplicity hints at deeper truths, or is merely a mathematical curiosity. Is the fabric of spacetime truly flexible? Or might future discoveries reveal hidden layers beneath Einstein's elegant equations? The question spins endlessly, like electrons orbiting an atomic nucleus. Einstein's violin peeks out again from under his desk. You imagine the strings vibrating in sympathy with the cosmic chords he's revealing, each note bending like spacetime itself, each measure flowing slower or faster depending on the tempo of gravity. You picture two twins, one stays on Earth, the other boards a spaceship and zooms off at near light speed. Upon returning, the traveling twin is younger than the one who stayed behind. A simple idea: time slows when you move fast becomes a story where the universe conspires to turn birthdays into science fiction. Einstein's mind loved these paradoxes. The simpler the starting point, the stranger the consequences. His secret wasn't that he complicated things, it was that he refused to. He kept the core ideas pure, then followed them wherever they led, even into cosmic weirdness. Physicists still debate whether relativity's simplicity will survive unification with quantum mechanics. Will the universe's ultimate theory look as clean and graceful as Einstein hoped, or dissolve into messy equations cluttered with probability clouds and uncertainty? Some dream of a single equation so elegant it makes you weep. Others suspect nature just isn't that tidy. Einstein lowers the chalk and sighs, as if even he knows how unsettling his simple insights have become. You hover beside him, feeling the weight of his revelation. Time and space are not rigid backdrops. They are actors in the cosmic play, bending and shifting in response to mass and motion. And here's the cosmic joke: the man who twisted time into loops and curves still managed to misplace his keys with alarming frequency. The same brain that redefined simultaneity occasionally forgot where he'd left his socks. It's a reminder that simplicity in physics doesn't necessarily translate into simplicity in life administration. You glance at the blackboard one last time. Those lines and symbols look so sparse, almost stark, yet they contain the seeds of GPS satellites, particle accelerators, and the cosmic clocks that rule the universe. So tonight, as you lie under your blankets, remember the weirdness of relativity didn't arise because Einstein made things complicated. It arose because he refused to accept unnecessary clutter. He sliced away assumptions until he was left with the truth that space and time are a single, flexible fabric. And next time someone complains that physics is too hard, just say, it's simple, move fast, age slow, then watch them blink, and maybe offer them some cake for comfort. After all, time's an illusion, but dessert is forever. Section 6. You're still drifting beside Einstein, the chalk dust swirling like stardust around you, when suddenly his brow furrows, and he tosses the chalk onto the cluttered desk. Because tonight, you're going to witness how fiercely Einstein rejected complexity for its own sake and how he trusted simplicity as a compass that guided him through cosmic riddles. Einstein stalks across the room, muttering under his breath, fingers tangled in his hair. It's not that he's hit a dead end. It's that somewhere, lurking in those tangled equations, is a needless complication and he can't stand it. Mainstream fact, Einstein famously distrusted theories burdened with excessive parameters or elaborate constructs unless they were absolutely necessary. He coined the principle often paraphrased as everything should be made as simple as possible, but not simpler. Quirky Einstein tidbit, despite his passion for cosmic clarity, Einstein's personal filing system was chaos incarnate. Once, when asked to clean his desk, he grumbled that a cluttered desk is a sign of a cluttered mind, then added, and what, then? Is an empty desk a sign of? Physicists still argue whether his physical clutter hid a mind of crystalline simplicity or whether his genius operated entirely separate from the existence of any organizational skills. Hovering close, you watch him leaf through piles of papers scrawled with dense equations. His eyes narrow as he pulls one page free, muttering about too many assumptions, and the elegance has vanished. Physicists still debate whether nature truly prefers simplicity or if we impose simplicity as a human aesthetic. Some physicists believe beauty and elegance are hallmarks of true laws of physics. Others warn that reality might be inherently messy, full of complex mechanisms waiting to be discovered. The argument roils on in seminars, conference halls, and heated cafe debates over rapidly cooling espresso. Einstein's violin leans silently against the wall, its polished wood reflecting the lamplight. You imagine him snatching it up for comfort, plucking a string to soothe his frustration. To Einstein, an elaborate theory filled with arbitrary constants and kludgy fixes was a betrayal of nature's inherent elegance. Complexity without necessity was suspect a sign someone had missed the forest. For the mathematical trees, you float beside him as he flips through more pages. His frustration isn't because the math is hard, it's because the math feels forced. Nature, he believes, shouldn't require clumsy patchwork. It should flow like a melody, simple yet profound. Physicists still debate whether the current standard model of particle physics is remarkably successful, but chock full of constants and parametrics an elegant theory or a temporary scaffolding waiting to be replaced by something simpler. Some hope for a grand unified theory, as graceful as Einstein would have demanded. Others suspect the universe is simply messy under the hood. Einstein's mind, meanwhile, refuses to accept complexity unless it's utterly necessary. Remember how he rejected the idea of quantum randomness, insisting God does not play dice. He couldn't reconcile a universe driven by probability with his instinct that nature's laws must be fundamentally simple and deterministic. Here's the cosmic joke for you. While Einstein detested unnecessary complexity in physics, he seemed perfectly content to exist in a swirl of personal chaos. His desk was a battlefield. His schedule was a suggestion. The man who stripped cosmic laws to elegant equations could lose a pair of glasses in his own hair. You hover closer as he scribbles furiously on a blank page, slashing through unnecessary terms, simplifying equations until they sing with clarity. He pauses, eyes bright, as if hearing the universe whisper, "Yes, that's it." Einstein's genius was never just about technical skill. It was his stubborn refusal to accept clutter where it wasn't needed. He believed simplicity wasn't a convenience, it was a signpost pointing toward the truth. And floating there beside him, you realize how rare and how powerful that mindset is. It takes courage to look at a complicated explanation and say, no, there must be a simpler way. It's easier to hide behind complex jargon, to build towering equations that only experts can decipher. Simplicity, by contrast, demands understanding. It exposes gaps in logic. It leaves nowhere to hide. So tonight, as you lie beneath your blankets, remember, Einstein's genius wasn't just in creating dazzling theories. It was in rejecting everything that wasn't necessary, even if it meant standing alone. Simplicity was his compass through the wilderness of the unknown. And next time you hear someone rattling off a string of fancy technical terms, just tilt your head and say, Einstein might have asked if that's really necessary. They'll either respect you or suddenly need to check their emails. Either way, you'll be channeling the spirit of cosmic simplicity. Section 7. You're still hovering in Einstein's study, chalk dust swirling around you like tiny galaxies, when the universe tugs you gently downward toward the far less cosmic, but equally revealing landscape of Einstein's everyday life. Because tonight, you're going to discover how simplicity wasn't just Einstein's scientific compass, it was the quiet theme playing through the background of his ordinary days. You find yourself standing beside him in the glow of a small kitchen, steam rising from a chipped coffee mug. His hair, somehow wilder than usual, frizzes in all directions, as if he's been electrocuted by a stray equation. He's wearing his trademark sweater, baggy, well-worn, and bearing suspicious coffee stains. Mainstream fact, Einstein famously kept his wardrobe simple. He wore variations of the same kind of clothes each day, reportedly because he believed trivial decisions, like choosing an outfit, wasted mental energy, better reserved for bigger thoughts. Quirky Einstein tidbit: despite his towering intellect, Einstein wasn't particularly practical about basic life tasks. He once struggled to sail a boat because he'd forget to untie it from the dock. Physicists still argue whether his simplicity in life reflected his genius or if he was just hopelessly distracted by cosmic puzzles. Either way, you've got to admire someone who could redefine spacetime, yet end up going in circles in a rowboat. Hovering near him, you watch as he takes a sip of coffee, stares into the middle distance, and completely misses the fact that toast has burst into flames in the toaster. His life, in many ways, was the embodiment of minimalism and occasional gentle chaos. Physicists still debate whether adopting simplicity in everyday life genuinely boosts creativity and focus, or whether it's just a fashionable myth. Does reducing decision fatigue free the mind for great ideas, or are some people simply more comfortable in predictable routines? The debate simmers on, in psychology labs and minimalist lifestyle blogs alike. Einstein's violin leans against a corner chair, as though even it has resigned itself to sharing space with clutter and coffee spills. You imagine it vibrating in sympathy with the quiet rhythm of his simple routine. Because simplicity wasn't just theoretical for Einstein. He stripped his life of unnecessary complexities. He stuck to habits and patterns that freed his mind to wander. He rarely fussed about appearances, preferring a sweater to a suit and skipping haircuts that might interrupt his train of thought. Yet, floating beside him, you notice another layer of his simplicity: kindness. His letters show he was gentle and often quite funny. He kept friendships with people from all walks of life, and in many of his writings, he advocated for a simple, humble life focused on truth, curiosity, and compassion. Physicists still debate whether Einstein's minimalist habits directly fueled his creative leaps or whether he'd have been just as brilliant in a tuxedo and perfectly tidy office. It's the timeless question: does genius shape lifestyle, or does lifestyle nurture genius? You drift beside him as he walks the same well-worn path through Princeton, day after day, hands clasped behind his back, eyes gazing far beyond the trees. He passes neighbors who smile and wave. They've long accepted that the man who revolutionized physics also occasionally forgets what day it is. Here's a cosmic joke for you. While Einstein famously reduced his wardrobe to simplify life, he owned enough sweaters that even his uniform created a kind of chaos. Simplicity, it turns out, can be a bit subjective. Floating closer, you notice how even his conversations reflected his love of simplicity. He answered complex questions with plain language. When asked to explain relativity to a non-scientist, he famously said, "When you sit with a pretty girl for 2 hours, it seems like 2 minutes. When you sit on a hot stove for 2 minutes, it seems like 2 hours." Simple, clear, and faintly hilarious. Einstein's violin again peeks into your vision, reminding you that music, too, is built on simplicity. A few notes, a simple theme, endlessly varied but always returning to clarity. His entire life hummed with the same principle. So tonight, as you lie there under your blankets, remember, Einstein's love for simplicity didn't stop at equations. It shaped his clothes, his habits, his conversations. It was a shield against life's chaos and a beacon toward deeper truths. And next time you feel overwhelmed by daily choice shirts, breakfast cereals, social media notifications, just whisper to yourself, "What would Einstein do?" Then probably grab the same sweater you wore yesterday and go invent something that bends time. Section 8. You're still hovering beside Einstein, drifting through the gentle chaos of his sweater-clad routine, when a subtle shift stirs the cosmic air around you. Because tonight, you're about to learn how the simplest, most childlike questions became Einstein's rocket fuel secret that turned curiosity into cosmic revolutions. Einstein is seated now, fingers tapping the arm of his chair, eyes distant. He looks less like the world's most famous physicist and more like an overgrown child, waiting for someone to explain how the toy works. And that's precisely the magic. Mainstream fact: many of Einstein's breakthroughs began with basic questions a child might ask. What would I see if I rode alongside a beam of light? Or does gravity affect time? These innocent-sounding puzzles grew into entire scientific revolutions. Quirky Einstein tidbit: despite being one of the most recognized figures in science, Einstein kept a lifelong fondness for childlike wonder. He once declared, "I have no special talents. I am only passionately curious." Physicists still argue whether this humility was genuine or whether he was secretly aware that his curiosity was on a cosmic scale the rest of us can barely imagine. Either way, it's both endearing and slightly intimidating. Hovering close, you watch him frown slightly, as if trying to figure out why a train whistle changes pitch as it speeds past the station. It's the same look he'd later wear when pondering gravitational waves or unified field theory. Physicists still debate whether curiosity truly drives scientific discovery or if practical problems and funding crises do more to shape science than childlike questions ever could. Is wonder the root of great ideas, or just a romantic notion we cling to so we don't feel so much like cogs in the machinery of grand applications? The debate keeps spinning, as relentless as the planets around the sun. Einstein's violin sits nearby, waiting like an old friend. Perhaps it's no coincidence that many of his simple questions emerged while drifting into the hypnotic rhythms of music. Notes flowing in patterns can stir thoughts as profound as equations. You hover closer as he leans forward, eyes sharp. He's thinking of that famous light beam again. What if you chased it at the speed of light? Would the wave freeze, unmoving beside you? Such a simple thought, but one that shattered centuries-old notions of absolute space and time. Because simplicity isn't about asking small questions, it's about asking fundamental ones. Questions so pure they slice through layers of assumptions, like a violin string slicing silence. Physicists still debate whether asking childlike questions is a skill that can be cultivated or whether it's an innate trait. Can curiosity be taught? Or is it a spark some people simply carry in their cosmic backpack from birth? The question glimmers like a distant star, tempting but never quite answered. Einstein's genius lay in refusing to dismiss naive questions as silly. He lingered over them, turned them upside down, and let them lead him into new worlds. His mind wasn't cluttered with fear of looking foolish. Simplicity was his guide, and curiosity his motor. You grin, because here's a cosmic joke for you. The man who transformed physics with childlike questions also got letters from kids asking him how to make time machines, and he sometimes wrote back. Even he knew curiosity is universal and occasionally hilarious. Floating closer, you notice how Einstein's conversations sparkled with questions. He'd meet people at parties and bombard them with queries about their jobs, their interests, their little pieces of the universe. Nothing was too mundane to be fascinating. Einstein's violin glimmers again in the lamplight. You imagine him pausing mid-phrase during a sonata to ask himself, could gravity slow music down? It's easy to picture him following that trail of curiosity all the way to general relativity. Because for Einstein, simplicity and curiosity were twins. Simplicity cleared away noise. Curiosity asked what lay underneath. Together, they cracked open the universe. So tonight, as you lie under your blanket, remember there's power in asking questions even if they sound childlike. Especially if they sound childlike. Your curiosity might be the thread that leads you somewhere astonishing. And next time someone sighs and says, "Stop asking so many questions, just smile and whisper," Einstein would have asked at least 3 more. Then go chase your own beam of light. You never know where it might take you. Section 9. You're still swirling beside Einstein, the echoes of childlike questions ringing in your ears, when the universe seems to unfold around you like a giant clockwork machine. Because tonight, you're going to see how simple, everyday objects like clocks and trains become Einstein's keys for unlocking the secrets of cosmic time. Einstein's desk is piled high with letters, half-drunk cups of coffee, and a pocket watch gleaming in a patch of sunlight. He picks it up, tilts it toward the light, and studies it as though it might whisper the meaning of life. And in a way, it does. Mainstream fact, Einstein's famous thought experiments often relied on everyday objects, like trains, clocks, and beams of light, to explain how time and space are relative. His scenarios turned abstract physics into stories anyone could visualize, making complex ideas astonishingly accessible. Quirky Einstein tidbit: despite spending so much mental effort on clocks, Einstein himself wasn't great with punctuality. He was notorious for showing up late, sometimes missing trains entirely. Physicists still argue whether this was cosmic irony, or just a man too busy rearranging the laws of the universe to bother checking his watch. Either way, it's oddly comforting. Hovering close, you watch him flick open the watch's lid. The second hand ticks forward with precise metallic snicks, and Einstein's eyes go distant. In that tiny ticking device, he sees the secret flexibility of time itself. Physicists still debate whether clocks in thought experiments truly reflect physical reality, or if they're simplified metaphors that risk hiding complexities. Are these models perfect windows into the cosmos, or do they gloss over quantum chaos lurking beneath the smooth face of time? The discussion swings back and forth like, well, a clock's pendulum. You hover beside him as he imagines to people standing beside railroad tracks, watching lightning strike at two points. For one person, the bolts flash simultaneously. For the other, whizzing past on a train. They don't. Because in Einstein's world, simultaneity is relative. What happens at the same time depends on where you are and how fast you're moving. It's delightfully simplined, utterly brain-bending. Einstein's violin leans silently against the clutter. You imagine its strings vibrating to a rhythm that speeds up and slows down, depending on how fast the violinist is moving. Music, too, has a tempo, and relativity says time's tempo changes with motion and gravity. You float closer as Einstein envisions two clocks. One stays on the ground, the other rides a speeding train. When the train returns, the traveling clock lags behind its twin. A few fractions of a second, but in principle, it could be years. Time itself stretches and contracts, like an elastic band. Physicists still debate whether this twin paradox reveals deeper mysteries about how time and causality intertwine. Does time dilation imply that reality itself is layered, with different slices of now stacked like cosmic pages? Or is it merely a practical consequence of speed and motion, without philosophical implications? The question lingers, as mysterious as the ticking of Einstein's watch. Einstein's genius was that he started with simple images: clocks ticking, trains moving, lightning flashing. From these ordinary objects, he built a radical new vision of spacetime. Simplicity didn't mean triviality, it meant stripping ideas down to their essentials, then following them fearlessly into the unknown. And here's your cosmic joke. The man who proved time can warp and bend still once missed an important lecture because he was, quite literally, on the wrong train. Even geniuses need conductors. Floating there, you realize how beautiful Einstein's gift was. he didn't complicate the universe. He clarified it. He found profound truths hiding in simple machines, a ticking clock, a moving train, everyday objects transformed into cosmic revelations. You imagine those two clocks again. One moving fast, one staying still. They're ticking out of sync. It's easy to see how this insight powers GPS satellites, particle accelerators, and our understanding of the entire cosmos. Einstein's violin glimmers in the lamplight once more. Perhaps every stroke of the bow is a reminder that time's rhythm is not universal. It can warp and stretch, depending on the cosmic concert around it. So tonight, as you lie under your blanket, remember the simplest objects might hide the biggest secrets: a train whistle, a ticking clock, a note played gently on a violin. They all might contain the echoes of spacetime's hidden curves. And next time someone tells you physics is incomprehensible, just smile and say, it's really just about trains, clocks, and how time can play tricks on you. Then watch them blink and possibly decide you're the most interesting person at the party, or the most confusing. Either way, that's a win in Einstein's book. Section 10. You're still floating in the soft glow of Einstein's lamplit study. Trains whistling faintly in the recesses of your mind. When the universe decides to toss you straight into its messiest, most unpredictable domain. Because tonight, you're going to discover how Einstein's passion for simplicity collided spectacularly with the bizarre world of quantum mechanics and why that cosmic collision still echoes through physics today. Einstein is pacing now, fingers knotted behind his back, muttering under his breath. His brow creases as though he's wrestling a dragon made entirely of probability clouds. You can practically feel the static in the air. Mainstream fact, while Einstein laid much of the groundwork for quantum theory, including explaining the photoelectric effect, for which he won the Nobel Prize, famously rejected its probabilistic interpretation. Quantum mechanics says particles exist in a haze of possibilities until observed. Einstein insisted God does not play dice. He believed there had to be hidden rules beneath the chaos, a simpler truth waiting to be uncovered. Quirky Einstein tidbit. Despite raging philosophical battles with fellow physicists over quantum weirdness, Einstein was still polite enough to send birthday greetings and joke with his adversaries. Physicists still argue whether his quantum skepticism was a noble quest for deeper truth or stubborn refusal to accept that the universe might genuinely be messy. Either way, it's oddly heartwarming that even cosmic disputes included birthday cards. Hovering near him, you watch as Einstein flips through a stack of letters from Niels Bohr, each one politely arguing that uncertainty and randomness weren't flaws, but fundamental aspects of reality. Einstein snorts softly, as if he's allergic to such ideas. Physicists still debate whether quantum mechanics is the ultimate description of nature, or merely an incomplete theory hiding a simpler layer beneath. Are particles truly random, or are we missing hidden variables that would reveal cosmic simplicity? The argument has spanned a century and shows no sign of fading. Einstein's violin leans quietly in the corner. You can almost hear it sigh, as though wishing its owner would just relax and play a few soothing bars of Bach. Instead of picking fights with the quantum realm, Einstein's biggest complaint wasn't just philosophical, it was practical. Quantum theory seemed too complex, too arbitrary. Rules changed depending on observation. Particles blinked in and out of existence. Cats were both alive and dead. To Einstein, this wasn't simplicity, it was cosmic chaos masquerading as science. You hover closer as he sketches another of his famous thought experiments. Imagine two particles created together, flying apart across space. Measure one, and instantly you know something about the ether no matter how far away it is. That spooky action at a distance, as Einstein called it, offended every instinct in his being. Nature, he believed, shouldn't act like a cosmic gossip network. Physicists still debate whether quantum entanglement implies hidden communication. Faster than light, or whether it simply exposes how deeply reality is woven together in ways we don't yet understand. Is the universe whispering secrets between particles? Or is our understanding of space and time fundamentally incomplete? The question hovers like Schrodinger's catalyst, dead and unresolved. Einstein's frustration with quantum mechanics didn't stop him from respecting its mathematical power. He acknowledged its dazzling success at predicting experimental results. But in his heart, he remained convinced that a simpler, deterministic explanation lay hidden beneath the probabilistic surface. And here's your cosmic joke. While Einstein declared that God doesn't play dice, quantum mechanics keeps rolling snake eyes, insisting that sometimes randomness is simply how the universe works. Meanwhile, physicists keep buying more deci just in case. Floating closer, you sense the tension in Einstein's soul. On one hand, he adored simplicity. On the other, he found himself in a universe where particles refuse to stay put. Light behaves like both wave and particle, and reality seems to exist in limbo until someone checks on it. Einstein's violin calls softly from the shadows, as though offering a refuge. Perhaps even he realized that in music, simplicity and complexity intertwine gracefully, a hint that the universe might be able to hold both. Truth said once. You hover above his desk as he sets down his pen, exhausted but still defiant. He's certain that simplicity remains the universe's compass, even if it's temporarily hidden under quantum fog. So tonight, as you lie under your blanket, remember, Einstein never stopped searching for simple truths, even when the quantum world tried to drown him in probabilities. His stubborn quest reminds us that even when reality seems random and chaotic, it's worth believing that elegance might still lie waiting underneath. And next time someone tries to explain quantum physics and your brain threatens to melt, just smile and say, Einstein thought it should be simpler. Then offer them a pair of dice and watch them squirm. Section 11. You're still drifting above Einstein's chalk-scribbled desk, the aftershocks of quantum debates humming in the quiet air, when the universe seems to steady itself again like a violin string settling into its perfect pitch. Because tonight, you're going to see how Einstein's devotion to simplicity wasn't just a passing preference, it was his lifelong compass, guiding every step of his quest to understand the cosmos. Einstein stands now by the window, hands folded behind his back, gazing out over Princeton's quiet streets. Golden sunlight spills across the floor, catching dust motes that swirl like tiny galaxies. He looks older, the lines around his eyes deeper, but the spark in them hasn't dimmed one bit. Mainstream fact, even into his final years, Einstein pursued a single, burning goal to unify all the forces of nature under one simple theory. He believed the same principles that made relativity beautiful could reveal a grand cosmic harmony, tying gravity, electromagnetism, and more into one elegant framework. Quirky Einstein tidbit: despite his cosmic ambitions, Einstein never lost his humor. In response to people asking if he could explain his theories simply, he supposedly said, "If I could explain it to the average person, it wouldn't have been worth the Nobel Prize." Physicists still argue whether this was his honest opinion or just a sly way of escaping small talk at parties. Either way, you can almost hear him chuckling as he says it. Hovering close, you watch as he lifts his violin from the corner, turning it in his hands. The wood catches the light, glowing softly, as though it, too, carries secrets of the universe. Physicists still debate whether a final, simple theory truly exists. Is there a single equation elegant enough to contain all of reality? Or is the universe fundamentally fragmented, a patchwork of separate laws, each working only in its own domain? The search for unity, known as the theory of everything, has become modern physics' ultimate quest, but its end remains hidden in the cosmic mist. Einstein refused to believe the universe was fundamentally chaotic. Even as quantum mechanics rose to dominate physics, he held fast to his conviction that nature's laws should be simple and deterministic, that every strange phenomenon must eventually reveal a simple explanation. You float closer, recalling how he once told a colleague that he felt a sense of profound faith that nature is simple and comprehensible. To him, simplicity wasn't just aesthetics, it was evidence that reality is rational, that humans can understand the cosmos if they ask the right questions. Physicists still debate whether this belief in cosmic simplicity is scientific insight or philosophical bias. Is our longing for simplicity a reflection of how the universe truly works, or just wishful thinking from pattern-loving brains? It's a debate that lights up chalkboards and lecture halls even now. Einstein's violin rises to his shoulder, and he plays a slow, resonant note that seems to hang in the room like a question mark. You can almost hear the music asking, could everything truly come down to one simple truth? Here's your cosmic joke. The man who believed in universal simplicity was also known for his utter inability to remember everyday things. He once forgot his own home address while moving apartments, and had to ask directions like any bewildered passerby. Perhaps that's the price of carrying cosmic secrets in your head. You hover beside him as he lowers the violin, lost in thought. Even as he aged, his mind remained fixed on simplicity. He rejected the notion that nature might be tricky or fundamentally unknowable. His stubbornness sometimes frustrated his colleagues, who were plunging into the probabilistic seas of quantum mechanics. But Einstein kept paddling toward a distant shore, convinced that somewhere, simplicity waited to be found. And that's what makes his story so timeless. He wasn't just a mathematician or a physicist. He was a seeker of beauty, of elegant truths hiding beneath the surface. He believed the universe should make sense, that its laws should be as clear as the notes of a sonata played on his violin. You look at him, silhouetted against the sunlight, and realize that his compass still points forward for scientists today. Researchers continue to search for equations so simple they feel inevitable equations that sing like music, that whisper, this is how the universe works. So tonight, as you lie under your blanket, remember, Einstein's devotion to simplicity wasn't naive. It was a kind of faith that beneath the chaos, the universe is orderly, beautiful, and knowable. And maybe, just maybe, that's a faith worth keeping. And next time you're faced with a problem that feels impossibly tangled, just ask yourself, how would Einstein simplify this? Then smile, grab your metaphorical violin, and let your own elegant solutions emerge. Section 12. You're still floating beside Einstein, bathed in golden afternoon light filtering through dusty windows, when the universe seems to draw you closer, wrapping you in a gentle hush. Because tonight, you're coming full circle to see how Einstein's devotion to simplicity wasn't just for blackboards and equations, but how it can become your own secret compass through the complexities of life. Einstein sets his violin gently down, the last note still trembling in the room like a star fading in dawn's first glow. He turns, eyes crinkling into that mischievous smile that always hinted he knew something delightful you didn't yet. Mainstream fact, Einstein's legacy isn't just about physics. His pursuit of simplicity taught generations of scientists and ordinary people that clarity, curiosity, and stripping things to their essence can solve problems far beyond science. His influence reaches into technology, philosophy, art, and even everyday problem solving. Quirky Einstein tidbit: despite revolutionizing science, Einstein often described himself as an artist of sorts, insisting that creativity and simplicity were inseparable. He once claimed he preferred answering children's questions over adults, because kids always went straight to the fundamental mysteries. Physicists still debate whether he genuinely found children's questions more profounder, just enjoyed avoiding grown-up small talk. Either way, you can't blame him. Hovering near him, you watch him tidy a single sheet of paper on his desk, an almost comical gesture considering the mountain of chaos surrounding it. It's as though he wants at least one thing to look orderly. And that's where you begin to see it, the way his life and work blended simplicity into a single thread. Physicists still debate whether simplicity can truly be a universal guide in all pursuits, or if some problems demand complexity. No matter how much we wish for elegance, is simplicity the mark of truth, or just a comfort blanket against the cold winds of chaos? The debate echoes not just in physics labs, but in boardrooms, classrooms, and even our own private thoughts. Einstein believed the universe and life itself could be understood through simple questions and clear principles. His approach wasn't limited to theories of light or gravity. It was how he handled confusion, arguments, and the giant tangle of existence. When confronted with complicated situations, he'd strip away noise and ask, what is the essential thing here? You hover closer, realizing that this question doesn't just unlock the secrets of space-time, it can untangle everyday knots, confusing emails, relationship squabbles, career decisions. The same principle applies. Find the core truth. Simplify. Focus. Einstein's violin glows softly in the corner. You imagine that each stroke of the bow is a small act of simplification triumphs the raw chaos of vibrations into melody. Life, too, can be a symphony if you choose your notes with care. And here's your cosmic joke. Einstein might have simplified the cosmos, but he still had trouble remembering people's names. So yes, simplicity works wonders for understanding reality. But your social life might still require post-it notes. Floating closer, you see how his belief in simplicity also gave him resilience. Faced with crisis, political upheavals, personal struggles, Warsh returned again and again to the quiet conviction that the universe made sense. That truth could be found if you just cleared away the clutter. Einstein's genius wasn't just in equations. It was in that serene certainty that simplicity wasn't weakness, it was strength. It took courage to reject the noise, to say, this is enough. This is the core. So tonight, as you lie under your blanket, remember, you don't need to solve cosmic riddles to use Einstein's compass. Whether you're figuring out your next step, managing your time, or searching for meaning, simplicity can guide you. Strip away what doesn't matter. Ask the basic questions. Let your curiosity lead you to elegant answers. And next time life feels impossibly tangled, just grin and whisper, Einstein would have found the simple path. Then give yourself permission to ignore the noisy and follow your own beam of light.